Do you know who I am?
No, I don't. No, man.
You've never been to jail?
GloRilla's house was invaded. Her family was traumatized. But somehow, she's the one in handcuffs. What really happened that night? The truth is wilder than the headlines. On July 22nd, rapper GloRilla found herself on the wrong side of a legal mess, not because she broke the law, but because of what police discovered during a break-in investigation at her home. Now, jail footage of her has surfaced, and while the internet is fixated on her camera-ready mugshot, the truth behind her arrest is turning heads for entirely different reasons. Here's where it gets shocking: the police weren't even after her in the first place. But somehow, she became the only one in cuffs. That jail footage hit the internet like wildfire, while fans zoomed in on her appearance. The story beneath it had the hip-hop world questioning law enforcement's motives. Let's rewind and unpack how it all began, a moment that's now got social media ablaze. It was early morning on July 20th, 2025, when 3 people broke into GloRilla's home in the St. Marlow subdivision of Forsyth County. But here's the twist: Glo wasn't even in Georgia. She was in Indianapolis, hyping up the crowd at the WNBA All-Star Game halftime show, electrifying the arena with her signature Memphis energy. As the break-in unfolded, a relative inside her home tried to scare off the intruders by firing warning shots. The thieves fled, taking off with jewelry. Thankfully, no one was injured, but this is where things veered off course. When police arrived, instead of solely pursuing the burglars, they claimed to have smelled marijuana and got a warrant to search her home. That search turned up over an ounce of weed and a Schedule I controlled substance in her bedroom closet. The robbers vanished, and the focus shifted from justice to prosecution, but not of the criminals. Just 2 days later, GloRilla turned herself in. She faced felony charges for marijuana and the controlled substance, posted a $22,260 bond, and was out the same day. But what stunned fans wasn't the charges themselves. It was the baffling fact that the only person arrested in the wake of a home invasion was the victim. The people who actually broke in, still nowhere to be found. It was this upside-down twist that had the public questioning how law enforcement chooses its priorities. GloRilla didn't let the silence do the talking. She took to X, formerly Twitter, to lay it all out. My house got home invaded Saturday, while I was in Indianapolis performing for the WNBA All-Star Game, and instead of focusing on finding the suspects, they focus on some cannabis. Her words hit hard, especially because they weren't angry rants. They were calm, clear, and deeply resonant. In 3 simple points, she made it undeniable: she wasn't busted, she was robbed. And somehow, she's the one getting booked. That post exploded online. Over 60,000 likes and thousands of reposts later, it was clear: people were furious. The comments section turned into a rally for justice, and the energy was contagious. Fans echoed her outrage, highlighting how twisted it was that she was arrested, while the actual criminals remained free. So you're telling me someone breaks into her home, and she gets locked up over weed? One post read, racking up tens of thousands of likes. It wasn't just about Glo, it was about a justice system that seemed completely backward. Her legal team wasted no time setting the record straight. Attorneys Drew Finding and Marissa Goldberg blasted the decision to arrest her, calling it a disturbing example of misplaced law enforcement focus. They pointed out the obvious: instead of searching for the armed burglars who traumatized GloRilla's family, the police zeroed in on weed, still illegal in Georgia but widely decriminalized elsewhere. For fans, the fact that Glo was working out of state, representing Memphis on a major stage, and still ended up in handcuffs was the final insult. Support for GloRilla surged across every corner of the internet. From Instagram comments to Twitter threads, people were demanding answers, not just for her, but for a system that seemed more interested in arresting victims than protecting them. One tweet summed it up perfectly: GloRilla's home was burglarized by 3 suspects when she wasn't home. Then, when the police came, they found weed. She was literally the victim of a crime, yet she was arrested. That post alone pulled in more than 19,000 likes. Fans weren't just defending their favorite artists, they were speaking out against a deeper issue: the repeated targeting of Black artists, especially women, by a system that often seems eager to criminalize instead of protect. Comments rolled in pointing out how the cops had no business searching her home in the first place. "They will do anything to bring you down," one user wrote, channeling the frustration of many who felt this wasn't just an isolated incident, it was part of a pattern. But in classic hip-hop fashion, the community didn't just get mad, they got clever. People started dropping memes, sarcastic jokes, and satirical takes that managed to turn frustration into fuel. One viral post read, "Did I read that right? Somebody burglarized GloRilla's house, but they saw weed and arrested her for that. And she wasn't even home? Haha." The irony was too much to ignore, and humor became the tool fans used to process a deeply unfair situation. And this wasn't the first time. GloRilla had crossed paths with Georgia law enforcement. Far from it. When you step back and look at the broader picture, a pattern starts to emerge. A pattern that raises serious questions not just about this arrest, but about how frequently artists, especially women of color, find themselves entangled in legal systems designed to police rather than protect. This wasn't GloRilla's first run-in with Georgia law enforcement. In fact, it marked her second arrest in just 15 months. And both incidents had one thing in common: drugs. But more importantly, they both left fans feeling like Glo was being singled out and unfairly policed. The earlier incident that put her in legal headlines happened back in April 2024. And while it didn't involve a home invasion, it definitely stirred public debate. It started with what should have been a minor traffic stop. GloRilla got pulled over in Gwinnett County for making an illegal U-turn at a red light, but what followed became internet history. The body cam footage from that stop showed officers questioning her about alcohol, and GloRilla wasn't exactly cooperative. Her responses gave off both sass and defiance, creating viral moments that had people both laughing and wincing. One exchange became instantly iconic. "Do you know who I am?" "No, I don't." That moment alone turned into meme gold, not because it was dramatic, but because it was real. It showcased how celebrity clout can fall flat when you're facing the law. For some, it was a reality check. For others, it was just funny. Throughout the stop, officers claimed they smelled alcohol and marijuana, but GloRilla insisted she was fine to drive. She stumbled through sobriety tests, and yes, fans remember the wardrobe mishap too. While she avoided jail time, the situation left behind a lasting impression. The outcome of the case was kept under wraps, with no official word on whether she paid fines or faced probation. Still, fans couldn't ignore the pattern. Both arrests happened in Georgia, a state with stricter drug laws than most. And when you're a Memphis-born artist spending time in Atlanta, two back-to-back cases start to feel like more than coincidence. But before we dig too deep into Glo's legal history, there's another layer to address: the wild prison rumor that made rounds in 2023. According to social media chatter, GloRilla had supposedly served 3 years in prison for stealing cereal from Kmart. Sounds ridiculous, right? That's because it was a total joke. The rumor stemmed from a comedy skit she did with Funny Marco, where she played along with a fake backstory about cereal theft. It was clearly satire. But not everyone got the joke. By April 2023, the rumor had spiraled out of control, and Glo had to shut it down herself. She took 2x and clapped back hard. "Y'all really sat up there and believed I went to jail for 3 years for stealing cereal. That's why y'all hearts be hurting. You believe anything?" It was a moment that highlighted just how fast misinformation spreads, especially for women in hip-hop. She was juggling real legal issues, yet still had to waste energy on fake narratives cooked up by the internet, and these weren't her only challenges. Fame brought GloRilla a wave of constant scrutiny, stretching far beyond police reports. She's been in the hot seat for beefs with other female rappers, questionable lyrics, and even makeup debates. One particular controversy involved her using an ableist slur in a song preview, which sparked criticism. To her credit, she listened, revised the track, and showed fans she was willing to grow. Then there were the appearance controversies, the usual catfish accusations thrown at female celebrities. When old videos of Glo getting her makeup done resurfaced, people online started debating her looks like it was breaking news, but GloRilla didn't flinch. She embraced her natural beauty, shrugged off the noise, and kept it moving, proving once again that women in the spotlight get judged for everything from their lyrics to their lashes. Even her success managed to spark outrage. When she won the Dr. Bobby Jones Best Gospel Inspirational Award at the 2025 BET Awards for her track Rain Down on Me, traditional gospel fans weren't thrilled. Many believed a secular rapper didn't belong in that category. Gospel singer Dietrich hadn't even spoke out publicly, calling the award discouraging and disappointing. He demanded a full gospel music overhaul, a debate that pulled GloRilla into an even deeper conversation about genre lines and evolving faith-based music. What all these situations make clear is that GloRilla has had to develop serious resilience between fake stories, real charges, industry pressure, and cultural backlash. She's faced criticism from all angles, yet still stands strong. Every headline, every controversy has helped shape not just her public image, but her career as a whole. And just when you think she might catch a break, another firestorm hits. That brings us to one of the most explosive chapters in her story, the feud with JT from City Girls. This beef checked all the boxes. Viral tweets, shady interviews, accusations of sneak disses, and more than enough drama to keep fans glued to the timeline. What made this feud especially juicy was how it started, not with direct shots, but with rumors. In October 2023, podcast host Armin Wiggins dropped a nugget on the Wrap-Up podcast. He claimed GloRilla tried to approach JT at the MTV Video Music Awards with friendly energy, but JT allegedly shut her down. That spark turned into a flame, and before long, both artists were throwing lyrical jabs and subtle shade on socials. What started as whispers exploded into a full-on showdown. According to Wiggins, the tension between GloRilla and JT allegedly escalated into a physical confrontation, where GloRilla either slapped JT or threw something at her. However, no video evidence ever surfaced, and many dismissed the claim as typical podcast gossip. Reports claimed JT snubbed Glo in a very nasty, catty way, rolling her eyes and ignoring her. When GloRilla tried to speak and even approached for a hug, JT allegedly brushed her off. Regardless of what truly happened, the story gained traction online because that's how hip-hop drama works. It doesn't need to be verified to go viral. Once it's out, it becomes part of the narrative. Fans picked sides and created their own versions of events, fueling speculation and forcing both artists to repeatedly address whether they were beefing. Things stayed tense but quiet until April 5, 2024. When GloRilla dropped her mixtape, Ething Ing and included a track titled 8 that directly addressed the situation. The lyrics said, "Me and JT ain't the best of friends, but we ain't beefing. And hoes always have an honor that they keep a secret." Though GloRilla meant the song to squash the rumors, JT took it as Glo, using the drama for clout. What really set JT off was the way those lyrics linked to past GloRilla tracks. Like the FNF remix Swear, she had previously referenced slapping other rappers. JT interpreted this as passive-aggressive and messy, a continuation of what she saw as Glo stirring the pot. When a fan directly asked if GloRilla had slapped JT at an award show, it was like throwing gasoline on a fire. JT exploded on Twitter, fully denying the rumors with, "She never slapped me ever, never, like y'all find someone to play with." But she didn't stop at denial. JT tore into GloRilla's character, calling her sneaky, messy, phony, and disloyal accusations that referenced past tensions within Glo's camp over the FNF remix. She even mocked Glo's appearance and upbringing, tweeting, "Ugly shouldn't leave your mouth ever. You look like you were born feet first." She followed up with a cryptic post of her mugshots, leaving an empty placeholder, as if ready to add, "GloRilla's next." GloRilla didn't take that lying down. She fired back with now-deleted tweets, telling JT to shut your dumb ass up and fix them ugly wigs, accusing her of harboring secret hate. When JT tried to explain that the lyrics bothered her because of the slap rumors, GloRilla responded mockingly, "I mentioned your name to clear the air. What you wanted me to say? I didn't slap you, but hit you with a purse instead." The back and forth escalated. GloRilla even threatened to crash JT's shows and took jabs at her mugshot history, tweeting, "Them mugshots is from you stealing, not fighting." Both women hurled insults, calling each other corny, scary, fake, and fans were loving every chaotic minute. The feud was messy but also symbolic, reflecting how female rappers are often pitted against each other. This was more than just personal, it was a spectacle shaped by social media and fan culture. The beef only lasted about a day, publicly, before both artists pulled back, but the damage to public perception was already done. When GloRilla was asked on a red carpet about the situation, she gave a vague but telling response, "Everything, just always, everything. At the end of the day, that day, going to mother end. And it's all the truth though. You interact with a person. Everything is everything." Later on, GloRilla maintained that she and JT weren't close friends but weren't beefing either, suggesting some kind of truce. JT hasn't publicly disputed that, and the drama seems to have cooled off for now. Reactions to the feud were mixed. Some felt it was unnecessary drama that distracted from both women's music. Hip-hop outlets cited it as a textbook example of how stan wars can magnify tension between artists who might not have had serious issues to begin with. Some fans blamed GloRilla for fueling rumors, while others thought JT overreacted to what was meant as a peace offering. But if that situation was messy, it was nothing compared to the next controversy, one that tested GloRilla's loyalty and showed how quickly a social media post can destroy trust. In May 2025, GloRilla landed in hot water with Megan Thee Stallion, one of her closest friends and collaborators, all over what seemed like a minor Instagram story. The issue: Tory Lanez is the same. Tory Lanez convicted in December 2022 for shooting Megan in the feet. On May 21, 2025, GloRilla reposted a motivational quote on Instagram, but the background song playing was Lanez's 2015 track, YDR. While this might have seemed like an innocent repost, fans immediately flagged the problem. Megan had recently gone live, expressing frustration with ongoing harassment from Tory Lanez's supporters. So for Glo, a close friend, to be posting anything featuring his music felt like betrayal. Within hours, Megan had unfollowed GloRilla on Instagram and deleted or archived joint posts, including a birthday tribute. Fans were shocked these two weren't just collaborators, they appeared to be real-life friends. GloRilla quickly deleted the story, but the internet had already grabbed screenshots. Megan's fans, the hotties, unleashed a wave of backlash, calling GloRilla a snake and accusing her of disrespecting someone who helped put her on. Posts, like Megan's bestie GloRilla posting a Tory Lanez song, thoughts, were racking up thousands of comments and shares. Fans pointed out how Megan had brought GloRilla on the Hot Girl Summer tour and featured her on high-profile track, so Glo's Instagram story felt like a huge slap in the face. GloRilla responded the next day, May 22, 2025, calling the post an innocent repost and saying she didn't realize whose song was playing. She wrote, "I don't do mess," and added in a follow-up, "I didn't know what song was playing in the background until everybody said something." She clearly wanted to shut the situation down before it exploded further, but the damage had already been done. It was a painful reminder of how even small digital actions carry major consequences in the public eye. In the whirlwind world of hip-hop, drama and speculation are often just a tweet away. According to Wiggins, things heated up between JT and GloRilla after an alleged physical confrontation, where Glo supposedly slapped or threw something at JT, although there was no video proof. And many dismissed the story as podcast gossip. The incident gained traction. Witnesses described JT acting dismissive and catty toward GloRilla, even rolling her eyes as Glo attempted to make peace. While the internet debated what really went down, it didn't matter whether the story was true. Once it entered the hip-hop rumor mill, it became part of the culture. Fans started choosing sides, building their own versions of the beef, and soon both JT and Glo were under fire from the press and fans alike. The tension simmered for months, until April 5, 2024, when GloRilla dropped her mixtape Ething, which included a track titled 8 that appeared to address the JT situation directly. Lyrics like, "Me and JT ain't the best of friends, but we ain't beefing," were Glo's attempt to clear the air. But JT didn't take it that way. Instead, she felt Glo was reigniting old drama for clout. JT especially took issue with previous bars from Glo that referenced slapping other rappers, which she saw as fueling the fire. When a fan asked if Glo had actually slapped JT at an awards show, it lit a spark that exploded online. JT clapped back on Twitter, emphatically denying it. "She never slapped me ever, never." But she didn't stop there. She accused GloRilla of being messy, phony, and disloyal, even mocking her looks, saying she looked like she was born feet first. She went so far as to post her mugshots with an empty slot, hinting she was ready to throw hands. GloRilla didn't take the disrespect lying down. She fired back with her own shade, telling JT to shut your dumb ass up and fix them UGG wigs, accusing her of harboring secret jealousy. When JT tried to clear up the slap rumor, Glo clapped back sarcastically, "What you wanted me to say? I didn't slap you, but with a purse instead." The feud escalated quickly with talk of crashing each other's shows and dragging up mugshots. Fans were glued to their screens as both rappers traded insults. But beyond the spectacle, the incident reflected deeper tensions in female rap, where women are too often pitted against each other, and social media can blow small misunderstandings into massive beefs. The firestorm burned bright but brief, lasting just a day on Twitter before both artists stepped back. Later, when asked about the situation during a red carpet interview, GloRilla simply said, "Everything, just always, everything. At the end of the day, that day going to mother end." It was her way of brushing it off, ambiguous, cryptic, and very glow. Eventually, she clarified that while she and JT weren't close, there was no real beef, and since then, no new shade has been thrown. Fans remained divided on who was in the wrong. Some blamed GloRilla for stirring up drama, while others felt JT overreacted. But if that was messy, what came next shook up GloRilla's closest friendships and tested her ability to navigate public controversy. In May 2025, GloRilla found herself in hot water again, this time with longtime friend and collaborator Megan Thee Stallion. It all started with a seemingly innocent Instagram story. On May 21st, GloRilla reposted an inspirational quote, but, in the background, Tory Lanez's 2015 track, YDR was playing. Given Tory's 2022 conviction for shooting Megan, fans immediately saw this as a problem. The timing was especially bad. Megan had recently gone live to vent about continued harassment from Tory supporters. The backlash was swift. Fans noticed Megan had unfollowed Glo and deleted posts that celebrated their friendship. The internet exploded with speculation, and Megan's supporters, the hotties, weren't having it. They called Glo disloyal, pointing out how Megan had helped launch her career. From music collaborations to touring opportunities, realizing how serious things had gotten, GloRilla responded the next day on Instagram, explaining that it was an innocent repost and that she hadn't realized the song was by Tory. "I deleted it as soon as I seen the comments," she wrote. She refollowed Megan and reshared their old posts, signaling that she wanted to mend things. While some people accepted her explanation, that there's too much music to always catch every detail, others weren't convinced. "How do you not know what you're posting?" they asked. Megan, for her part, stayed silent, letting her actions do the talking. Sources close to her confirmed that the unfollow was a gut reaction and not a permanent break. Privately, the two artists reportedly hashed things out. And by July 2025, they were following each other again with no public fallout. But the incident was a clear reminder of how sensitive relationships can be, especially when trauma is involved, and fans are watching every move. For GloRilla, this was another lesson in the cost of visibility. Every post, every song, every quote, all of it gets analyzed. But these moments also showed how Glo confronts conflict, hit on with honesty, and sometimes humor. That authenticity, sometimes raw, sometimes controversial, has helped define her career. GloRilla's story didn't begin with fame. Born Gloria Hallelujah Woods on July 28, 1999. She grew up in Memphis with a strong church background. Singing in the choir gave her a foundation in vocals and performance. But when she lost her voice to illness at 16, she pivoted to rap. That resilience became central to her story. She started releasing music independently, dropping her first mixtape Most Likely Up Next in 2019, followed by the P-Status EP in 2020. But it was the viral hit, FNF Let's Go in April 2022, that changed her life, landing her a deal with Yo Gotti's CMG label and launching her into national stardom. From there, the rise was meteoric. She joined the 2023 XXL freshman class, dropped the Anyways, Life's Great EP, which hit No. 11 on the Billboard 200, and collaborated with major artists. Her single Tomorrow 2 with Cardi B went double platinum and cracked the Hot 100's top 10, while Wanna Be with Megan Thee Stallion became a summer anthem. Her debut studio album Glorious, released in October 2024, peaked at No. 5 on the Billboard 200 and earned the highest first-week sales for a female rapper that year. With critical acclaim and chart success, she proved she wasn't just a viral moment, she was a movement. Glo kept pushing boundaries. She experimented with sound, collaborating with gospel legends like Kirk Franklin and Maverick City Music on Rain Down on Me, which won her a 2025 BET Award. Her performances grew too, from festival sets to an electrifying halftime show at the WNBA All-Star Game, where even the players danced along. Her glorious tour, despite a few hiccups like a brawl that cut short her St. Louis show, showed she could command stages across the country. Meanwhile, her personal life became part of her public image, especially her bold choice to embrace celibacy. What started as a 90-day New Year's challenge turned into a spiritual commitment. She joked about the struggle on social media, tweeting things like, "Day 9, and my vision blurry AF," and "Get thee behind me, Satan," when faced with temptation. but fans appreciated the honesty and humor. Her message: she wasn't dating, linking, or talking to anyone until God sent her the right man. It was a blend of faith and self-focus that resonated deeply with her audience. In February 2025, she added a full 30-day wellness challenge: no drinking, regular workouts, encouraging fans to join her in prioritizing self-care. Media outlets praised her for setting a positive example, and fans related to her transparency, though rumors linked her to high-profile names like Drake, Dame Lillard, and even Complex host Speedy Mormon. She kept her romantic life private and her standards high. For her, celibacy wasn't just about abstaining, it was about clarity, focus, and spiritual alignment, even amid personal challenges, including a July 2025 arrest that didn't stop her from headlining her Glo Bash concert in Memphis. GloRilla's star continues to rise. Her journey from church choirs to Grammy stages reflects a unique blend of humility, hustle, and unfiltered realness. In a genre that often prizes bravado over vulnerability, she's carved out a space that's unmistakably hers. And that's the story so far of GloRilla, the Memphis girl who turned setbacks into milestones, internet beef into anthems, and her personal journey into a movement. For more updates on what's trending, stay tuned.